Welcome back to Midnight Movie Club and my spoiler discussion of Godzilla vs Kong. By now, a lot of you have seen it. The film is out there for everyone now, which is fantastic. There's lots of reviews and explain videos coming out left, right and centre. My review is also out, the spoiler-free review, so if you have not seen that, I do ask you go check that one out first, then come back to this video. In this video, I'm going to go through everything that I really loved and everything that I kind of hated in spoiler territory, so if you haven't seen the film, definitely click off now because we are about to get into spoilers. Let's go. So what other way is better to kick off this video than talking by the victor himself, Godzilla. Godzilla wins Godzilla vs Kong. He does prevail as the apex titan, still, solidifying his spot as king of the monsters. Now Kong fans, please do not click off because I've got much love for Kong as well. He was fantastic in this film, and without Kong, Godzilla would be dead. That's just fact. Do you know what I mean? Mechagodzilla was going to kill Godzilla if it wasn't for Kong. So he was still there and Kong bet the guy who bet him. So, I know that sounds a little bit silly, but it doesn't mean Kong's the winner or anything like that. It's definitely Godzilla who wins. Wingard said one will fall and one will win. And that's exactly what happened. And I have to say, I absolutely loved it. It was much better than something like Batman v Superman, even though it was a little bit similar the way Godzilla was standing on Kong's chest. It was like the way Batman was standing on Superman's chest. But yeah, Kong was about to die. They had to resuscitate him, with the HEAV, and that was a cool little throwback, to back when in the old Toho movies Kong got supercharged with electricity. It was kind of a little nod to that, as they kind of had to give him a defibrillator shot to the heart to start his heart up as his heart rate was slowing down. But yeah, just Godzilla and Kong's fight in Hong Kong. Oh my god, it was amazing. I feel like it did go on for a while, but while you're watching it, it feels like it's over in like 2 minutes. But I think if you do go back and look at the runtime, they do actually fight for quite a while. But honestly, the fight just happened so fast and so quick, and there's so many badass brutal moments that it just flies past. One downside of the fight though was I felt Godzilla really relied on his atomic breath far too much and used it far too much as well. Now it does make sense, it's a super OP ability, it's something that Kong really doesn't have an answer to. He has to dodge it, or he has to deflect it with the axe, so why wouldn't he use it? He's really trying to win this fight, so he is going to use it. But I would have just liked to see him do a little bit more in that in the first part of that fight than what he did. He was really just there with the laser breath. I really loved it though when he bit Kong and threw him. It was so badass. I really thought Godzilla was much more animalistic in this film and really brutal, and he was almost more like a crocodile or a Komodo dragon. They really took inspiration from those animals, I think, in his movements and the way he fought and the way he threw Kong about when he had him in his jaws. It was awesome. Yeah, he definitely did spam that atomic breath quite a bit. But as we've seen, if Kong can get up close, then, is game on, because Kong went straight for the neck, straight for his head, trying to disable that atomic breath. He went for the jaw rip, then the atomic breath was let off, burning, singeing his fingers. That would have been absolutely painful as. But Kong really did have a strategy there, and it was just really cool to see Kong kind of, learn Godzilla's moveset, figure him out, and then plan his attack accordingly. And moving on to Kong, I absolutely loved him in this film. It was really a Kong film, I felt. He definitely got the majority of the screen time between the two, and I loved seeing him in the Hollow Earth, returning to where his species are from. Where all the Titans are from, actually. They confirmed that in the film. That was just fantastic to see, and I really do want a Kong Hollow Earth movie. I really did like Kong's fighting style as well. He was almost like an MMA fighter / pro wrestler. He was getting people in DDTs. I'm pretty sure I seen him doing a running bulldog to Godzilla through a skyscraper, which was badass. The way he distracted him with a crane, and then as Godzilla was dazed after the big axe hit, he looks for the sound and goes to the sound, and then he just cross bodies him from the top rope from on top of a building. That was eerily reminiscent of the Empire State Building, little nod there. And yeah, and when he went to shove the axe down Godzilla's throat, awesome, badass, and obviously a reference to the older film where he shoved a tree down his throat. So yeah, I've said this before, I've always been a Godzilla guy. Godzilla was just the first like giant monster movie I ever watched, and I absolutely loved it. And I've always been really into dinosaurs, and obviously he kind of looks like a dinosaur, you know, so I've always preferred him over Kong. But in saying this, I love like all the King Kong movies, Peter Jackson's. I absolutely loved that as a kid. And Kong Skull Island, obviously one of the better movies in the Monsterverse. I really liked him in that. And here, it just made me love Kong even more. Honestly, I think Godzilla still pips it for me. I'm always going to be a Godzilla guy. But honestly, if Kong was to win in this movie, it wouldn't have bothered me, because I really loved him so much. And just the way he grew as a character, and it was just awesome. Now moving on to the third party, the man-made titan himself, Mechagodzilla. What did I make of Mechagodzilla? I'll tell you, absolutely, utterly badass. I have to say, the CGI in this film was an absolute 10 out of 10 the whole way. It was so good, but I do feel like the CGI in Mechagodzilla wasn't quite as good as what it was on Godzilla and Kong. And that's nothing to be surprised about. I mean, they're the title characters. You want to put the most effort into them. But I did feel in just a couple of shots, Mechagodzilla didn't quite look up to the same standard as Godzilla and Kong. Maybe that's just me, but yeah, he was fantastic, and I really loved it. I speculated this in one of the TV spots that where they were keeping Mechagodzilla in Hong Kong, he was going to have like a training arena where they would release titans for him to fight, and that's exactly what it was. They were breeding and releasing skull crawlers. Whether they were actually stealing eggs from Skull Island, we don't know. I don't think they were. I think they were just cloning them from DNA, growing them in their pens, and then releasing them to Mechagodzilla for demonstrations and trial runs. And I really liked that. I thought it was a really cool concept, and it honestly does open the door. With Apex and Monarch, we know we're going to get a Monarch animated series. Art Apex going to be part of that, and Art Apex going to be growing more titans of their own, and just creatures from like the Hollow Earth. We know that they can, you know, extract rock from the Hollow Earth and turn it into pure energy just by downloading it, which, by the way, makes absolutely no sense. That was one of the parts of the movie I really didn't like, just how much you had to suspend your disbelief, but we'll get onto that later. But what do you think? Or do you think Apex had more than just skull crawlers? I'm pretty sure they might have said that they did have like 10 more subjects, so who knows. I would love to see more done with that, and I'd love to see Apex actually make like a biological titan, not a mechanized one, and see what kind of crazy titan concoction they can cook up and release onto the world. Obviously, they're going to have, you know, a bit of a management turnover. Now, Walter Simmons is gone, and sadly, Ren Serizawa is gone. I really thought they wasted that. That was annoying as well. You know, he was Dr. Serizawa's son, you know, the guy from Godzilla 2014, King of the Monsters. He sacrificed himself to bring back Godzilla, revive him so he could defeat Ghidorah and become King of the Monsters. And then his son in this movie obviously despises Titans, probably because his dad died trying to protect them and trying to get us to coexist with them. So he's went a little bit emo into the dark side, and he's thought, nah, humans need to be on top. We need to destroy all Titans. And you know, I wish we just got more of that motivation from him. He was really just in the background. And I feel like he was more of an Easter egg rather than a proper character. And I thought he was someone that they could keep alive for future movies and use him. I mean, it would be quite an emotional story to his character. And he would make for a good human villain, which would actually be pretty nice for once. And he could control like Mechagodzilla, Mecha King Ghidorah, and, you know, really try and take down Godzilla and other titans. And you would be able to see where he's coming from since he's lost his dad to titans, so it would make sense and you would feel for him a little bit. And I feel like they could have really done more with his character, so it was sad to see him just, you know, sit in Ghidorah's head and get zapped. Yeah, it was pretty sad. But one thing is it's pretty much Mecha Ghidorah in that last fight as well. Even though it is Mecha Godzilla, it's Ghidorah's, like, you know, brain waves and brain patterns from the other two skulls that are really controlling it when he takes over Mecha Godzilla and crushes Walter Simmons, you know, and breaks out of Apex and just makes a beeline for Godzilla because he is pissed. And I just thought that was really badass to see, you know, Mechagodzilla kind of possessed by Ghidorah, and we see him just going straight for the kill shot, wanting to, you know, rip Godzilla's mouth open, hit him with a beam down the throat, just like Godzilla done in 2014 to the female Muto, and then decapitated it. You know, Ghidorah was about to do the exact same thing, just using Mechagodzilla as a conduit for that, which was a really cool little nod. And yet it was terrifying to see Godzilla in a position like that, like completely vulnerable and completely beaten the shit up out of, really. So yeah, that was my thoughts on like the three main titans in this movie. And I do have some thoughts on the intro credits as well. I've seen some chat of this, people saying that, you know, titans like Methuselah and Scylla, you know, they're all dead, and Behemoth, they're dead because Godzilla's just been going on this rampage and killing them all to solidify his spot atop of the food chain and as apex titan. But I believe in the intro credits when it was saying defeated over them all, that it could have just meant submitted as well. I mean, submitted wouldn't look as, you know, it just wouldn't look as cool. Like, defeated sounds cooler, looks cooler with the red. I really doubt Rodan is dead, because I'm pretty sure they'd bring Rodan back in future movies if they could. And I really doubt that they're just going to kill off all the original Titans that they created for the Monsterverse off screen and then just tell us about it in an intro. I just don't think they would do that. And if they have done that, then I really do think that they're selling themselves short. Personally, I just think the defeated over them meant, you know, they've been taken down or they've submitted and accepted Godzilla's dominance over them. And the same with Kong's side. Obviously, he only had a couple, you know, the skull crawlers and then the giant skull crawler. And obviously, he did kill them. But nothing on Skull Island is really going to submit, because they're all really more animalistic and don't really think for themselves. They just go off animal instincts, and they're all just really carnivores that Kong has to kill anyway. So yeah, but the other titans like Scylla, Behemoth, Methuselah, the Queen Muto, Rodan, they can think for themselves a little bit more, and I believe they've just submitted to Godzilla, and that's the reason it said defeated over them. Now let's talk about Hollow Earth. Holy shit, Hollow Earth was so sick. It was really worth the wait. All the little teasings throughout all the previous movies in the Monsterverse. It was awesome to finally see it. And yeah, I can't believe like how sci-fi they went with things. Adam Wingard spoke out saying that, you know, he's really inspired by sci-fi films of old, like Alien and stuff like that, and Star Wars, and this was his chance to really, you know, dig into those sci-fi roots, and he absolutely smashed it with his concept of the Hollow Earth. And everyone who was part of bringing the Hollow Earth to life, I really loved it. I loved the gravitational changes, all the little creatures here or there, and how the mountain ranges were on the sky as well as the ground as well. It was absolutely sick. And I really liked the little piece of dialogue about Skull Island being a part of the Hollow Earth that just came to the surface. I think that's a really cool way to look at Skull Island. But I really did think that they could have went a little bit more in depth with Hollow Earth and showed us how treacherous it is for them to traverse, and maybe, you know, threw in another kaiju in there. And I really didn't like that the Warbat almost got the best of Kong. Like, it wrapped him up, the second Warbat. I mean, he killed the first one straight away, then used it against the other one, which was badass. But I felt like Kong should have been able to rip through its wing, get himself out of that. But they kind of made it look like he needed the humans to help him out of that situation. I was like, nah, you're kind of nerfing him there. Like, let him deal with it himself and, you know, let him look like an absolute boss before the final fight with Godzilla. So little things like that annoyed me and stuff, but it is what it is, I suppose. Like, they've got to involve the humans somehow. But interestingly enough, Adam Wingard has come out and said that he believes audiences are ready for a Monsterverse film with far less humans in it. I've seen a lot of people saying, like, don't be silly, once you get a movie like that, you're going to hate it. You need humans to be in there. And, like, he's not saying he's gonna do one with no humans. Like a movie with no humans wouldn't work. It wouldn't. We all want it, but it wouldn't work, let's be honest. He's just saying that you don't need that much of the humans to factor in. Like, you really don't need that human storyline as much as you need the Titan storyline. And he's just saying he believes that audiences are now ready for a film that fully, you know, doesn't fully rely on the human story to carry the narrative. He believes we're ready for a film where the Titans, you know, their stories are the ones that carry the narrative, and there'll just be little bits of humans sprinkled in throughout. And I think, yeah, he's bang on the money. For me, my favourite Monsterverse film is Godzilla 2014. I know some people might hate that, but I absolutely love that film. And yeah, there really isn't much monster fighting in it. Godzilla isn't in it that much, but it was the perfect way to like set the Monsterverse up. You didn't want to just blow your load all at once. You know, they tease Godzilla throughout the film, and then at the end we get nice action scenes with him, and he absolutely destroys the Mutos in the most badass fashion. And yeah, I think that was done very well. I think Gareth Edwards was an absolute brilliant choice for that one, especially when he's done things like Monsters in the past. He can do a lot with not showing a lot, and I think that was perfect for the first film in the Monsterverse. But the stage that we are at with the Monsterverse now, compared to back then, is totally different. We are ready for a film where it can just be the Titans, and yeah, there's a little bit of humans in there. There always will have to be, but you know, I think we are ready as an audience now to really focus on these Titans, their characters, you know, their feelings and their stories. Now let's get into the things I absolutely hated and just didn't make sense. I've mentioned it before, you know, the whole downloading of the radiation from Hollow Earth and then just transferring it back up to Apex facility. First off, how's there Wi-Fi in the Hollow Earth? Yeah, I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me. And how are we digging up a rock and downloading it? Like, it's a physical thing. Like, how are we downloading it and then, you know, transferring it via Wi-Fi, Bluetooth? I don't know. It just, I know we are in the far future here, and you know, there's some liberties they need to take, but shit, man, some of that stuff just seemed so dumb. And Godzilla can actually use his atomic breath to shoot through the crust of the earth into the Hollow Earth. What the fuck? Is that not totally OP? Like, I don't know, like, to me that just seems a little bit over the top. Don't get me wrong, when he done it, I was like, holy shit, that's badass. But then the more I think about it, I'm like, fuck, that's kind of dumb, eh? Like, I don't really get that. In the fight with Mechagodzilla's beam is getting the best of Godzilla's. I don't know if that's maybe because Godzilla's tired, he's used it a lot. That could probably be an excuse for it there. But, you know, if this man can drill through the earth, his atomic breath can pretty much do anything. I just seemed like that was a bit far-fetched, and I know far-fetched sounds stupid when we're talking about giant monsters, but to me, I don't know, let me know what you made of it in the comments. I just thought it might have been a little bit silly, even though it really was badass. It is something a god could do, and it did make him look super godlike, I suppose. And it means that anytime he needs to, he can get right down into the Hollow Earth, which is good for him to travel about, and explains how he gets places so fast, I suppose. But with Kong looking like he is now the king of Hollow Earth, I wonder if he's gonna, you know, let Godzilla come down anytime he wants, or if he's gonna put up a little bit of a border patrol or something like that. It'll be interesting to see. That is why I really hope we do see a Kong Hollow Earth movie. Also wasn't a fan of how, you know, spilling whiskey on a computer is what brought down Mechagodzilla. Like, you know, it gave Kong that second of hesitation from Mechagodzilla because he glitched out to get the upper hand. I would have just preferred it if Kong got the upper hand and Godzilla, you know, helped him get the upper hand in the final fight, rather than having to have it be someone spill something on a computer. That just seems really silly for me. And if these people are downloading rocks through, you know, from the center of the earth, surely their shit is waterproof. I don't know, to me that just seems silly. I don't know, like I said, you do have to suspend your disbelief with this film in quite a few places, and that's just one of the things that annoyed me most. Obviously, with people like, you know, Dr. Lind and Rebecca Hall's character as well, when it came to some of the military scenes as well, they were telling soldiers what to do, and then in the last act, Dr. Lind, you know, just suddenly knew how to pilot a HEAV and knew all the insides and outs of it. I know his brother used to be in them, maybe he has that knowledge from then, but they probably should have brought that up. Just things like that. A lot of stuff was very convenient just to keep the plot, you know, plodding along, going forward. But when you're watching the movie, it goes that fast that you don't even notice all these little silly things, and the action is that good and the Titans are that awesome that you really don't fucking give a shit. You're there to see like a giant monkey punch a giant lizard, and that's what you get. You get a lot of that. And if you've not seen my spoiler-free review, I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. Obviously, I went into more detail of all the film techniques and stuff, and my critique of all that kind of shit. It's an equivalent to a 7 out of 10. I'd put this as number 2 in my Monsterverse rankings. Godzilla 2014 at the top, Godzilla vs Kong second, Kong Skull Island third, and King of the Monsters fourth. And I'm really looking forward to hearing all of your tier lists of the Monsterverse in the comment section down below as well. And I also want to discuss where we all think the Monsterverse is going to go now. For me personally, like I said, I want that Kong Hollow Earth movie, and I really want Godzilla vs Destroyer as well. We know that they've used the Oxygen Destroyer in King of the Monsters, at least like a prototype version of it, so you know that sets up Destroyer perfectly. And even if they can't do Destroyer because of rights issues or trying to get the rights or anything like that, they could just, you know, make their own sort of crustacean Lovecrafted creature that can kind of morph and stuff like that. I think that would be awesome. You know, bring something up that's going to give Godzilla a proper challenge and almost kill him, just like Mechagodzilla, because there's really not that many, you know, huge threats left that they can do. Mechagodzilla's kind of been done in with Mechagodzilla, and then apart from that, it's really only like maybe Gigan, you know, Megalodon. I can't remember how you say it. It's not Megalodon like the shark, it's like Megalon I think. Space Godzilla. I just can't see them doing anything with space and being silly like that. Maybe who knows? Maybe those structures in the Hollow Earth were built by aliens. Who knows? Who else we got? Yeah, I can't really think Biolante, but I just can't see any of them maybe giving him, you know, a fight for his life. Like, I know the Mutos did, but I believe he was a little bit rusty in the 2014 film. You know, he'd been away for a minute. Now, you know, he's a fighting titan now, you know, he's the apex. He's been fighting for a long time now and fighting pretty consistently in recent times. So I think he's going to need a big challenge to really challenge him for that top spot, and I think Destroyer would be the perfect challenge. But as I said, I'm keen to hear what you all make of this, and if you want to discuss any other spoilery things that I haven't brought up in the video, because this video would be far too long if I brought everything up and dissected every little bit, or if these were just the main points I wanted to focus on and my main takeaways from the film. I really do want to go see it again and see what else is in there. But yeah, I might have some more content coming out of where the Monsterverse is going to go, where it could possibly go. I want to hear what you all make of it in the comments. Let me know your theories for where it could head next. And thanks to everyone who votes in the polls over in my community tab. I've seen a lot of votes come in for is the Monsterverse going to continue or not, and it's great to see that engagement. Thanks very much for that, guys. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please do like, and if you haven't already, then subscribe to join the club. As always, thank you so much for watching, and good night.